Пишите пальчики баллон. I just want to share like the experience that we had yesterday flying with a toddler or almost toddler. He's like 11 months now, and I just want to give you maybe some tips that could help you to fly with your baby. So first, let me tell you the things that we have done, and then I'll add some things that I wish we could have done. So the first thing that we did is we purchased TSA pre-check for my husband and my son. Unfortunately, I couldn't get the TSA pre-check because I don't have any green card, or like I'm not the citizen of the United States. So if you're a green card holder or a United States citizen, then you might consider purchasing a TSA pre-check. So that one I think costs like $80 per year, I think, per person. If you're like flying maybe like 3 times or like more than that, I think it's more than worth it to purchase that TSA pre-check, because when you go through the TSA check, you definitely see that there are like 3 or even more lines like separate. There is like regular TSA pre-check and then, or TSA check, and then there is a pre-check, and then you can see that there are like business class passengers like going through the different lines. Always like the business class and then the TSA pre-check is way shorter like line. So I don't think that people even wait there, you know, while other regular people like go through like, you know, the labyrinth of the lines. That's, I think, one of the best things that we have done. Another thing, we did our best to shift the naps a little bit just to accommodate for like, you know, the flight. The flight was like a 3-hour flight. It was supposed to be like more than that, but somehow we managed to land like in 3 hours. So after going through the TSA check, and then we didn't have a lot of time because we've been almost late to the flight, so we just went straight to the boarding. And then after boarding, I think like before like taking off, it was like maybe 10-15 minutes, we tried our best to just, you know, play with Dean, and then it was pretty good because he's not been too tired, and then he was just like, you know, happy to see like a lot of people around, something new, he's not in the airplane every day, so it's been a little entertaining for him. I've been so worried about the like, you know, taking off, like it's like maybe 15-20 minutes, which is a little bit hard because you can feel the pressure when the plane takes off, like your ears hurt. So I saved up a bottle of the milk. I mean, I didn't save, I just hold it, and I did not give it to my son, like, you know, like within an hour, like before taking off. So that way I would be a little bit more confident that Dean would take a bottle during, like, you know, that takeoff time. So that worked out, and then he didn't cry because, you know, of any pressure or any pain, so that was like smooth. After we were already in the sky, so that time he started like, you know, crying, being fussy, and then at that time we were able to stand up and then walk between the aisles. At that time, my husband took him, and then he started working him, and then trying to put him to sleep. We gave him a bottle. He finished that, and he just fell asleep. I've been holding him entire time when he was sleeping, and then he tried to wake up like, you know, after maybe like 20 minutes of nap, but I stood up and then, like, you know, walked through the aisles, pat him, and then I just did my best not to wake him up. So it worked out, and then he slept like an hour. We've been halfway through of our flight, so only like an hour and then half was left. I was pretty sure that my son was not going back to sleep, because like he's already 11 months and at max he sleeps 2 times a day. So by that time, since we flew afternoon, he already took like all his naps. So like his morning nap and then afternoon nap. Fun part began. For that part, I prepared like a bag of toys, like different toys, like crinkles, like for chewing, like silicone like toys, some wooden toys, and then I took like cups, like just like regular recyclable cups. I took like empty bottles, like to make like noise. So all kind of stuff, like small stuff that I could fit in the bag. I took those. And so for a while, I think for like half an hour, I was able to rotate those toys, and then he was playing and then throwing away, and then I was like giving him back, and then like half an hour went. After that, he was no longer interested in the toys or like anything else. At that time, it became a little bit stressful for me and my husband, because we've been so tired, and then but we had the responsibility to entertain him and then keep him, you know, as quiet as possible. Just, you know, I didn't want to have a crying and screaming baby in the plane and then, you know, disturbing everybody else. At that point, I was just holding him and then going like between the aisles, like just walking, you know. It also worked like for maybe 15-20 minutes, and then he became bored. A lot of people look at him and then they were saying like hi. Everybody was trying to entertain him. Not everybody, but like there were a couple of people who were like really into trying to help us out. Like one of the flight attendants, she brought a cup with like some pieces of ice, and then since my son was teasing, sometimes he wants to chew something, but the silicone toys and everything else, he doesn't like it. And then he tries to put my fingers in his mouth, but that's crazy because his little teeth are so sharp and it hurts as a hell. Oh my goodness. The ice chips, like the pieces of the ice, were like really helpful. Like I've been like I gave him a little bit, and then it helped him to soothe for a while. People who have been sitting like the next row, they've seen that we've been trying to entertain him. The men started making like, you know, different faces, like, and then my son really liked it. He was making like a lot of like noises, like trying to mimic animals, and Dean loves those. So I think that man spent like maybe 15-20 minutes just you know, saying like peekaboo and then entertaining, making silly faces for my son. That was very nice and sweet, so I was so grateful for that. Yeah, and then by the end of the flight, we were supposed to sit and then, you know, buckle up fasten the belts, so we weren't able to walk between the aisles. And my son didn't want to have any milk, or like he refused to take the bottle. So I wasn't sure like how the last like 15-25 minutes would go, so I just prayed. I was lucky to sit next to the window, and the window is really nice. It opens and then closes. My son was so into it, and the last like 20 minutes he spent closing that window. I was just opening it and then he would close it. I would open it and then he would close it. There were like 2 windows that we could reach, and that was amazing. I think that was one of the best toys or games he played in the airplane. Yeah, and that way the flight came to the end. Unfortunately, we've been very lucky that our son didn't, scream and disturb anybody else. I mean, even if he would scream, I think it's totally okay because kids are kids. So that was the entire flight. One thing that I want to mention is I took like battery operated toys. I don't give him play with them like at home. I only take those to like long like road trips or like to the flights. One thing that I would do very differently if I had a chance is, to take a sleep and then have a good rest like before flying. I mean, it's for the parents, not for the kids. For the kids, you most probably want to make them like, tired like as much as possible, so that like at the airplane they don't have a lot of energy. If the kid sleeps right before like the flight, oh my goodness, that kid wakes up with so much energy, and then I think it's way harder to keep him and then to entertain them like in a very tight space. Oh, one more thing, I think even if your baby is little and then 11 months or maybe a year old, I think I still could take some paper and then like pencils for my son to be able to draw something on the plane, because I saw some families brought like pencils and stuff to paint or draw during the flight, and the kids were amazingly calm, and then they spent like entire 3 hours just drawing, and then like just at the end they started watching probably like some shows on their phones. But of course those kids were older than my son. I'm not sure how it would work out for Dean at 11 months, but still I think it's a nice thing to try out.